So Mary goes to live with a minister for a few weeks, a few days, while they figure out what to do with her. And she is being sent back to England to live with an uncle, her mother's sister's husband. Now, the mother's sister has died as well. And so this guy lives alone in a huge, huge house, hundreds of years old. So has a good amount of money. And it's described as being on the edge of a moor. Now, a moor is a sort of field. It's generally considered to be somewhat boggy, not necessarily flooded with water, but it's generally perceived to be damp. It's kind of swampy, but not really, and it's a common setting for these Victorian Gothic novels because it's like, oh, it's the moor, which is this big, sort of vast, open, foggy area. And you just see it. It's like it's it's the image that you have when you think of these empty areas of England. And she doesn't know what a moor is because she's been in India her whole life, and India is hot and tropical, and it's not a continuous wet. It's India is seasonally wet. England is continuously wet. So it's very different. Two very different places. And so she's going to live with her uncle, who is grumpy, and he has a bent back. And the theory is that he's grumpy because he has the bent back, which is quite possible because since he has a bent back, he's somewhat of an outcast, and that tends to make people grumpy. It probably also comes with a lot of pain because when people are balanced, when people are in the proper shape of people so that, the spine's nicely aligned and they walk properly, they walk with a even gait and all of those things. The body works the way it should work because, you know, the body evolved, was engineered to work with the muscles aligned this way and the bones aligned that way and the tendons tying everything together. But if you have a physical deformity, if, for instance, one leg is longer than the other, or the spine is curved, or what happens is that because there's out of this alignment, different muscles get used more than others. Bones rub different ways. So instead of being balanced on your feet, you would lean towards more one hip, which means that you put more weight onto that one hip, which means that the hip starts to rub. Or if your back is curved, then you tend to favor one arm, or, the if the back is curved, the nerves that come out from the side of the spine can get pinched and rubbed because it's curved, and so it rubs at the edge. So he's probably in pain. He lost his wife, who he absolutely loved. He said he would search the world for a blade, he would cross the world for a blade of grass for her. So here you have something that's like incredibly common, go in the backyard, get a blade of grass. But if she wanted one particular one from the far side of the planet, he would go to fetch it for her. And once again, they talked about her being rather unpleasant and somewhat ugly looking. Now, the captain's wife pointed out that her face has good features, but it's just this color. And so Mary, it has a yellow tint, which is referred to as jaundice. And jaundice can be caused by a lot of things, most of them having to do with liver damage. It is a common symptom of malaria. It is, there's drugs that can cause it, other diseases that cause it. But because she was in a tropical country, malaria is a very good chance of what she had that caused it. Other forms of hepatitis can cause it, and once again, there are forms of hepatitis that spread just like cholera does, except hepatitis is a viral disease and it works on the liver more than the intestines, but can be spread in the same way. So here you have Mary with the yellow jaundiced face. And if she's out of if she's out of the situation where there are these diseases, then her liver can heal and her color can return to a more normal. We'll see if that happens. If not, then she's yellow. There are people of all different colors. There are people who are blue. And there are a few people who are blue. That's due to a disease, methemhemoglobin globia, where their blood doesn't, the hemoglobin in their blood doesn't bind as efficiently as it should with the oxygen. And they take on this blue tinge. But Mary doesn't have that. Mary is yellow, probably because she has liver disease, possibly caused by malaria, possibly hepatitis, possibly, who knows. She's yellow. She's yellow. Anyway, we'll see how well she gets on with her uncle. There's a chance that, two bitter people can be bitter together and then end up being not quite so bitter as each other. They're being bitter together, they become less bitter each on their own.